I want to tell you very clearly, my dear students, the subject is made up of 3 key terms. When you go for your interview rounds, definitely it is expected out of you that it is basically the different subjects, the combination of the different subjects. And when I see the syllabus of ethics, integrity and aptitude subject, it is yes. Ultimately, who is getting the benefit? The people who are producing the weapons. They are at benefit. Hello students, welcome to PW OnlyIAS. I'm your educator Siddharth Shishodia is with you to discuss what should be the strategy for the subject GS paper 4. Yes, GS paper 4 subject, that is ethics, integrity and aptitude. So before starting this particular video, I want to tell you very clearly, my dear students, the subject is made up of 3 key terms. And that's one of the major mistakes the students do. They ignore the part of the particular words, that is integrity and aptitude. They totally ignore it. Some students even don't remember this, and that's make the difference, because these key terms are very important part of your syllabus, and yes, definitely questions are coming out of it. So let me discuss in short what should be the strategy of this particular paper, how to attempt this paper in the examination. This paper is definitely its only mains oriented paper. In the prelims examination, this subject is not the part of your syllabus. So that is why one of the major reasons again that many candidates, they ignore this particular paper. But here I'm here to show you the importance of this particular subject. The importance of this particular subject. Now you know this. Since you know this, it's a separate paper altogether. It carries 250 marks. And yes, that makes a very huge difference, students, because 250 marks in itself, it's very important if you want to qualify the mains examination. So first of all, if I consider this as just as a paper carrying only 250 marks, is it enough, or is it the aspect that, sir, this much only weightage this particular subject carries in the mains syllabus? The answer is no. It is beyond this particular aspect. So apart from the 250 marks that the separate paper of ethics is there, I am telling you, my dear students, that whatever you study in your ethics paper, you should know that moral philosophy is integral part of the syllabus for this paper. And once you prepare this particular part of your syllabus, this helps you. It helps you in your essay paper as well, which is also of 250 marks. So think of it. Recently, the philosophical essays are coming. I mean, out of 8 questions, the options, 4 options from the section 1 and 4 options from the section 2, philosophical essays, the weightage is, the number of questions are very high. Sometimes 5, sometimes 6. So you have to write somewhere or the other one or the second essay of philosophy. So if you are preparing this subject thoroughly in detail, and if you are covering the philosophical aspect of it, definitely the content part of the essay you can very well pick up from the ethics syllabus. So how much marks? What do you think? 500 marks? 500 marks, definitely it's a decider. I should say it's a decider. You are all aware of this, that the triangle of ethics paper, essay paper and your optional paper is definitely a game changer. 500 marks for your optional and 250 each. So that is a total of 1000 marks I am talking about. I am not considering the optional here, but definitely 500 marks, it's definitely makes a very, very huge difference. Now, it's not just that only within the essay syllabus it is going to help you. In addition, your governance portion, the governance part of your syllabus, that is of GS paper 2, again, unit number 6 and unit number 7. Unit number 6 is in context to the ethics in the public services and in particularly public administration, and 7th is probity in the governance. The syllabus units, they help you in preparing your governance portion as well. This is approximately 30 to 40 marks. What you can increase your score if you are prepared with the ethics syllabus. Then apart from this, what kind of a character you are, what is your personality, that is also reflected while you go for your interview rounds. When you go for your interview rounds, definitely it is expected out of you that you possess, yeah, that you have moral values within you, that you should be a ethical personality overall. So when you prepare for the subject ethics, integrity and aptitude, you not only prepare for the 250 marks of the GS paper 4, but also the portion of your ethics paper, GS paper 2 governance part, and in addition your interview as well. So this is the importance of this particular subject. Now let me make it very clear. So students, before going ahead, I would like to share something very important with you. You see, this is the Shrijan Mains 2025 batch program that it is ongoing. Students who have already qualified the prelims examination of 2025, the batch is absolutely free for you all. So you should not waste this opportunity. The 2025 particular, the selection rate, if I talk about, there were 192 selections in UPSC CSA with respect to Srijan 2024 batch. So students, what all will be the features of this particular batch? You see, there will be specific rules and frameworks that how you should design your answers. In addition, there will be classes with respect to the question answers of GS paper 1, 2, 3 and live classes of the ethics paper. In addition, there will be live answer writing practice sessions also, and the mentorship and test series will also be included. So in my opinion, you should not lose this opportunity and join this particular batch if you have qualified UPSC Prelims 2025 exam, right? So let's go back to the topic, and good wishes students. In the syllabus of ethics, what all topics are covered? So it is an amalgamation of the three subjects. Basically, the first subject is human psychology. The portion of human psychology is being taken, and that contains basically your unit number 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'm not going into the details of this syllabus, you can refer to it, but it is basically the different subjects, the combination of the different subjects which are taken into consideration while preparing the syllabus, while planning the syllabus of the particular subject. The second subject is moral philosophy. Unit number 5, that is thinkers and philosophers. What do we learn from the great thinkers and philosophers, not only from the India but from the Western world as well, and the other part of the world, the Eastern world as well, in context to India, both Western and Eastern part of the world, what number of philosophers, what philosophical theories, what the particular teachings that we get from those philosophers, that is also your important part of the syllabus. The third aspect is public administration. Third subject takes public administration. And when I see the syllabus of ethics, integrity and aptitude subject, it is, yes, the overlapping part here, considering the topics from the subjects which the subject in itself, ethics, is been the planned accordingly. So this is basically, as I told you, unit number 6 and 7. Here we actually touch the ethical aspects of the public administration, and the syllabus is well defined, do not worry. So this is the particular aspect in which consideration you should prepare your subject. And if I talk about how much marks do you score, when I talk about the number of marks that you can score in this paper, see, if I talk about GS paper 1, 2 or 3, the average marks that you get in these particular papers is approximately 100 to 110. If you are scoring 115, then that's a good score. 120 is a very good score in this particular papers, but the range of the maximum students, maximum candidate, the range they fall in is basically 100 to 110, and that is also not just an average score but a good score. In fact, there are candidates who have scored 70s to 90s, and that is basically on the lower side, I should say. But when I talk about GS paper 4, you see, you get good score, you get very high score. At times you can even score very high, students, and yes, it is possible in this particular paper. In GS paper 4, it is possible to score 140 plus marks. it is possible. The AIR 1 2024 and AIR 1 2023, they both scored 140 plus. In fact, Vishakha Yadav scored 160 plus, rank 6, right? So previous years, right? So this is the aspect that I'm going to tell you, that if you are working hard in this particular paper, there is a possibility that you can make the difference of 20 to 25 plus marks, where your hard work can help you in sailing through the cutoff. However, when you are talking about paper 1, 2, 3, whatever hard work you put in, yes, you can go to the higher side, no doubt about it, but see, the difference would be not much. And similarly, if you apply this in your essay paper, and if you consider these two particular papers together, you can make the difference of 50 to 60 plus marks. And if this difference is created, this is definitely a game changer. This is definitely can help you in crossing the line. And if it is not at all, you make it possible, you work hard, you're not working hard in this particular aspect, you can definitely can be out of the line as well. No way near to the line. So please understand, this paper is a very easy paper. Easy in the context, why am I saying this paper is easy? Because the syllabus is not that typical. Syllabus part, it is easier to cover. If I talk about the other subjects, there are number of subsections, number of subjects which are part of GS paper 1 to 3, and there you feel it very difficult to cover all the subjects, and it takes lot of time to cover them. So to cover this particular syllabus, you need less time. This particular paper, it's basically the answer writing aspect which is important. And if you have those views, if you those particular ethical views, if you prepare your syllabus well, you can definitely score good here. And more importantly, the case studies. I'm going to discuss this particular portion of this paper. So how this particular syllabus is divided, or the in fact paper pattern, if I discuss, how is this paper pattern of this particular paper, how it is divided. So see students, there are basically two sections. This is section number 1 or section A, and then section B. Section A basically contains the theory part. However, section B considers case studies. Case studies are generally the trend that we have seen so far. The case studies are of 120 marks, and each case study is of 20 marks. That means in total, there are 6 questions that are coming and 6 case studies are coming. While if I see the section A portion, there are particularly the total marks here is 130 marks, and each question carries 10 marks. So in total you get 13 questions that you have to do in section A. So if I consider these 6 case studies and 13 questions, total number of questions that you have to appear in 3 hours paper are 19 questions. Even sometimes the case studies, there are subsections like section, if there is a case study, then there can be a sub part, A section, A part or B part, or even the question can be divided in 3 different parts, C part. However, the total weightage of each question will be 20 marks only. So if I not consider this part, if I take 6 case studies and 13 questions altogether, there are 19 questions that you have to attempt in 3 hours, and that makes this particular paper challenging. So what are the challenges or challenge related to this particular paper is basically the time management. The questions are easy, but they are very, very lengthy questions. Lengthy case studies, lengthy questions, The length of the questions, particularly in 2024, the questions were in itself of 6 lines or 7 lines. So by the time you study the particular question, you think of the particular answer, you do the brainstorming, you pick up the points, what should I write? This everything that you have to do for a 10-mark question, you should do in 6 to 7 minutes. Reading the question, understanding the question, and then attempting the question, everything has to be done in 7 minutes. And even this is for section A I am talking about, that a theory based question. But when I talk about the case studies, if I talk about, then maximum time that you can get is of 15 minutes or 16 to 17 minutes that you can take. And within this particular time limit, you have to read the question, you have to read the case study, number of questions attempted. This makes this particular portion, makes this particular paper tough. And considering the aspect that you have already in the mains examination, you are totally exhausted. You have attempted the essay paper, first of all, essay paper, then paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, and then here on the third day, you are appearing in the afternoon GS paper 4. If I consider these parameters, then this paper becomes tough. And if you are disciplined enough, if you have practiced the mock test, if you have worked with respect to the syllabus, if your content part is ready, your analytical aspect is done with respect to the subject, if you understand the subject, definitely you can score very good marks in this paper. So you should prepare this particular subject very diligently, I should say that. Moving to the aspect that, sir, what exactly is the requirement of the paper? So it is not the test of your knowledge. Your knowledge part has been considered in paper 1 and paper 2, paper 3. This paper is not just about expressing your knowledge. It is about what attitude do you have while you approach the problems of the situations of the society. What approach do you have in particularly solving those particular problems, these problems of the society, the problems of corruption? So integrity, probity in public life, it is being tested whether you possess these particular values, whether you have these particular values in you or not. You cannot fake it, because the time is so less that ultimately you just need to write the answers at a very high speed, very good speed, and while doing so, definitely what you exactly are is reflected out on the answer sheet. Even if you try to fake it for a moment, you can, but for 3 hours continuously, if you want to write everything fake and you not that particular personality, it is not possible. So what exactly your personality is, what kind of a character do you have, what is basically your behavior towards the problems of the society, this is all what is being assessed in real life. How you are going to do things, it is being assessed in this paper. Particularly the case studies, which are stories in which you have to find the central theme of the case study and highlight the problem and then the solution effectively. For that, doing that particular part, you have to be very thorough, very clear in your approach. If I show you some questions related to this, let us look at the 2024 questions. 2024 question, the very first question, you see, it is the question from the applied ethics aspect. How can you apply the ethics in various dimensions and in various fields? First of all, you can see that the AI, artificial intelligence, is very popular term, very popular technology today. But you study this particular topic in context to science and technology, but UPSC, what they did, they tried to ask the questions in the applied ethics format. That is, if I apply AI, if I apply ethics in AI, what should be the critical aspect related to this if we apply this AI in the administrative roles? So if you are applying this AI in the administrative role in decision making, is it a debatable issue? Critically analyze, and your analysis should be based on the ethical viewpoint. So a student has to be prepared for such a dynamic nature of this paper, where the knowledge of your paper 1, 2, 3 is being tested and in the ethical viewpoint particularly. Second question. Look at the second question. It is basically ethics encompasses several key dimensions that are crucial in guiding the individuals, particularly the individuals and organizations, towards the morally responsible behavior. So explain the dimensions of ethics, that influences the human action. This particular question is a question that is directly coming from the syllabus part, because in your syllabus it is definitely directly mentioned dimensions of ethics. So this part, this question, you can be prepared, and this is how you can see that this particular question can be comparatively a easier question if you are prepared with your syllabus. Look at the third question. It is not enough to talk about peace. You see, the number of wars were going on. In fact, they are currently also going on. The war of Israel-Palestine, the war of Russia and Ukraine. And UPSC has asked the question in that context that if we should not just talk about peace, we should even believe in it, and not even just believe in it, we must act upon it. To maintain the peace, we must be ready to take an action about it. The question here is that the major weapon producing industries of the particularly the developed nations, they are responsible or they are influencing the continuation of the wars. Ultimately, who is getting the benefit? The people who are producing the weapons. They are at benefit because if the wars are going on, their weapons will be definitely sold out at a very high price. So the question here is, what are the ethical considerations of the powerful nations in today's international arena to stop the continuation of the ongoing conflicts? You cannot just cram the answer and write in the exam. Such a dynamic paper it is. These are the questions of 2024. I'm not talking about the questions of 5 years back, 6 years back, what kind of a question they used to come. This paper from last 10 years, the paper was introduced in 2013-14, and since last 10 years, the pattern of the paper, the number of questions, the aspects of the question, they are very dynamic now. They are very much current oriented. They are asking the questions in a way, the problems which we see naturally in this world, and not just from India, but the global point of view. And you see, students, if you are not thorough with the GS paper 1 to 3, definitely you will fall short of the content here. But ethical theories and ethical viewpoints and philosophical basis, if you lack there also, then it will be very difficult to answer GS paper 4 particular questions. The difference between GS paper 3 or paper 2 and paper 4 is the viewpoints, the ethical viewpoints, the philosophical basis. Look at the other question. The global warming and climate change are the outcomes of the human greed. We all study about the climate change in our environmental studies. We all study about the global warming aspects in geography, environment. You are aware of this. Even related to science and technology also, what technological changes that we can do to mitigate the particular climate issues. But still, in ethics paper, they are focusing on the human greed. And yes, it is related to human psychology, it is related to the human emotions as well. The question here is, after considering everything, the question here is how to make an equilibrium between the society and the environment. And if you want to maintain this equilibrium, definitely you have to give up your greed as a human. And this is what the aspect UPSC asked about. You can prepare the introduction part, all right, you can prepare some of the quotations related to this particular topic, but writing an answer, 150 word answer here, it is a challenge if you have not practiced well before. So if I tell you that what are the types of questions that come up in the exam, so there are questions which are particularly direct questions, I should say. They come direct from the syllabus. Then second type of questions, they are analytical. I just now gave you the examples of many analytical questions where you have to analyze the situation, and then you have to even give the merits, you have to give the demerits, sometimes advantages, disadvantages. So this is the analysis part. Third type of questions are basically quote based questions. Some quotations are given to you, and then you have to write 150 words on this particular quotation. So there are approximately 3 questions that are quotation based. And 4 type of question is current affairs. So whatever events that are going on in the recent years that are being asked to you. So let me just show you the questions, direct questions. The direct questions, that is, first question is on moral integrity. Define what you understand by the term professional efficiency. These are direct questions. Definitions are being asked. Once you study the topic integrity, you definitely prepare. If you're covering the syllabus, you do prepare about moral integrity topic. Secondly, see the question about the empathy and compassion. So these terminologies are directly being asked. And For a civil servant, these particular values are very important, moral qualities are important. With suitable example, you have to give the answer. Direct question from the syllabus. Similarly, the question of impartiality and non-partisanship. These values, they are mentioned in the syllabus unit number 3, aptitude and foundational values for the civil servant. So they are direct questions that these particular values, they are absolutely important, indispensable qualities for a successful civil servant. Discuss with illustrations. To the point question. See more questions, and these are respective questions of 21 and 22. See more questions that what is the basically main components of artificial emotional intelligence. What are the basic main components of emotional intelligence, EI, and can they be learned? So when you cover the unit number 4, we talk about emotional intelligence and its components, and then what examples can be and how you can learn emotional intelligence. It's a very theoretical topic directly from this syllabus, very easy to attempt. In 2018, they asked about code of ethics and code of conduct. They are also directly written in our syllabus. So these questions are not tough questions, they are directly from our syllabus. If I talk about the quotation based questions, these are the quotations that generally come. Like for example, in 2017 and 2022, the same question was asked that if a country is to be corruption free and become the nation of the beautiful minds, I strongly feel that there are 3 key members of the society that can bring this particular change or make the difference. So APJ Abdul Kalam ji said it is basically it's basically the father, mother and the teacher who can bring the change. So you see, this quotation is basically related to human values, where APJ Abdul Kalam ji wants to say that these human values are inculcated at a very early age of the particular child, and the people who are responsible for inculcating these values are teachers and parents. So you see, this is the crux of this particular quotation based question, but then you have to elaborate it, you have to write the introduction, you have to explain the body part also, give some quotation, give some example. In fact, if there is any other philosopher, any particular leader who has worked in the direction of the education as a teacher like Savitribai Phule, or as a parents who have dedicated themselves for the for upbringing, for the good upbringing of a child, there you have to give some examples from the real life, and then also from the other leaders. One more question I'm going to take, like 2023 Jawaharlal Nehru ji, the question came, to awaken the people, it's the woman who must be awakened. Once she is on the move, the family moves, the village moves and the nation moves. So basically the central theme is women empowerment. This is the central theme of this particular question. So these are the type of questions, like Mahatma Gandhi ji is one of the favorite of the UPSC. So there are number of questions which are asked in the quotation form from the Mahatma Gandhi ji's viewpoints. Then current affair based questions, like in 23 there was a huge and a big news of Bharatiya Nyay Sanhita, that is IPC, which was now finally the reforms have come and the IPC is now being called as Bharatiya Nyay Sanhita. This was something that many of the candidates, they thought that they'll prepare it in context to GS paper 2, particularly polity, but you see in paper 4 this particular question being asked, and then the values of justice, equality and impartiality, they should be based on the Indian culture. Discuss in this light of the major shift of the doctrine of punishment to justice. So this question is basically related to justice, and present judicial system is somewhere being asked in this particular question, considering Bharatiya Nyay Sanhita. So you should be prepared for such particular questions. I must say, like for example, Operation Sindoor is very much popular at this particular point of time. Operation Sindoor is a very, very important operation, operation where the shift has, India has taken a very, very strong stand of zero tolerance towards any kind of a terrorism act. So we can expect a question, that too the ethics GS paper 4 question on this particular topic. Then there are other examples, like in 2020 new education policy 2020 which came up. So UPSC framed a question in paper 4. Then there was a question of refugees in 2021, UPSC framed this question. That digital technology, they are the reliable source for the decision making. Similar kind of a question was asked in 24, where instead of digital technology they put the word artificial intelligence. The language of the question remains the same. So we have to consider the dynamic portion of this particular exam. This particular questions, like current oriented questions, are also coming in the exam. So if I move forward from this particular question, what should be the specific strategy for this particular paper? You first must focus on the terminologies. We must focus on the terminologies. We must establish a correlation between the terms, and then we must refer or write or support our answer with number of examples. These examples you can take from GS subjects, other subjects, like you can take the example from environment, science and technology, society, history, etc. All the subjects, polity, international relations, you can take the examples. You can also take the examples like real life examples. Real life examples, that whatever you observe in your surrounding, your observation, because you are also the part of this particular society. So whatever observations you have, you can take those examples. You can also take examples of your family and friends. And even you can take the example, personal examples, that what a specific event where you felt something and then particular value somewhere, or a dilemma that you faced. So you can refer to those examples. Once we are prepared with this context, when our syllabus part is done, students, I advise you, and I strictly advise you, my advice is refer to PYQs. Refer to previous year questions. It's only last 10 years PYQs which are available, and if you are preparing for 25 or if you are preparing for 26, I would advise you, you can refer to 5 to 6 years previous year questions. At least this is the basics. This much you should be prepared. Many a times the questions are being repeated. We should consider this aspect, that many a times the questions being repeated. And then the final advice to my students is that answer writing practice is very much mandatory. If you're not practicing your answers, you will fall short in the exam, because the length of the questions, the particular, the dynamic nature of the paper, it is definitely going to hurt you a lot if you are not prepared. What else? Many a times the students ask me, sir, can we make diagrams? Can we write historical and mythological events, mythological story or events as examples? So my advice to you students, yes, you can write the mythological and historical aspects. Like you can talk about historical aspects of Mahabharata, what you learned from Yudhishthir, you can write it. You can talk about religions. Yes, you can take examples from religious teachings. You can talk about Bible. You can talk about the teachings of Islam. You can talk about the Sanatan Dharma. You can talk about what is Dharma. Even you can give the example. You can talk about Moksha, Buddhism, Jainism. Seek help from all these subjects that you have learned in different subjects, and yes, you can very well quote these as examples. Diagrams, yes, they can be very helpful at times, particularly the spoke and hub type of diagrams. Flowcharts, they enhance your presentation part. So it's the last 3 points I would like to give you. It is not about just knowledge. Your first step should be that you take knowledge. You should enhance your content of the paper. The second step, once you do this, you should focus on answer writing. And once this aspect is ready, then you must focus on your presentation of your answer. Presentation matters, beta. Presentation matters a lot. It matters a lot. So with this, I hope I have given you very clear idea what this paper is all about, number of questions, the type of questions that are coming in this exam, syllabus, the syllabus is designed of number of subjects, and ultimately what is the pattern of the paper and how we should approach this particular subject. Referring to the books, there are a number of books in the market. PW OnlyIAS has also also gives you a book and your notes, but ultimately you see whatever you are learning from the notes, whatever you are learning from the class, it is the application of everything in the exam. It is not about copying and pasting the answer. It is about creating your answer. So if you understand this, my dear students, thank you so much. Good wishes. I hope this video is going to help you in writing the answers for ethics paper. Good wishes.